All right, let's get you guys caught up with some last-minute news and updates heading into Sunday's Browns versus Giants matchup with Chris Easterling. He covers the Cleveland Browns for the Akron Beacon-Journal. Chris, thanks for jumping on with us, man. Less than 24 hours before a must-win for both teams, but for different reasons. I guess I'll start with the report that has every Giants fan just refreshing their Twitter. Myles Garrett is dealing with injuries to both of his feet that could require surgery after the season. I know he was on a pitch count last week against the Jags, but if he does play on Sunday, you think we're going to see the Myles Garrett that we're used to seeing just completely dominate tackles and terrorizing quarterbacks?
Well, he had the feet issues against both the Cowboys and Jaguars and managed strip sacks of both Dak Prescott and Trevor Lawrence in those games. So I think you can reduce how much impact Myles will have in the game based upon how many snaps less that he would have played had he been, fully healthy. But, I mean, it's Myles Garrett. This guy has – I will say, if there's anything you can say about Myles Garrett is, one, he's a freak, and two, these type of things don't seem to bother him. He seems to play through some pain, holds, tackling him, whatever it is, he seems to play through it and still manage to be one of the best defensive players in the league right now.
Yeah, and even Myles Garrett at 80% is still, top 10 pass rusher in the NFL. So all eyes are going to be on that. And really, you only need him on third down. That's when he's most dominant anyway. Another report that everyone's kind of keeping their eye on, starting tackle Jack Conklin has been downgraded to out for tomorrow while he's still dealing with the hamstring injury. With him being out, you think that changes how the Browns' offense attacks the Giants' defense?
No, because this has been framed, and it's partially our fault, for the way we've even framed it. The folks covering the Browns is everybody's making it out like they're down 2 starting tackles, and the reality is DeJuan Jones, as a rookie last year, started nine games and played in 11 and really held his own throughout before he got hurt. Had his own knee injury last December. Really held his own against some of the best pass rushers in the game, guys like T.J. Watt, guys like Nick Bosa. So, I think the bigger news, I think, is the possibility that Jedrick Wills Jr. might be back finally for the Browns, which solidifies that left tackle spot, which against that Giants pass rush is huge, because they've been starting James Hudson the third over there the first 2 games, and James, nice player, a guy that the Browns really like, but he's not a left tackle by nature in the NFL, and two, he's not Jedrick Wills Jr., to that level. So just getting Jed back in the lineup is going to be big for them, against the likes of Thibodeau and, assuming, the groin injury doesn't hold Brian Burns as well. So that to me is the bigger news, because I think they feel perfectly fine with DeJuan Jones at right tackle. I know he had a little knee soreness earlier in the week, but Jones is a guy who's shown so far that he's sort of been a steal of the draft in 2023 out of Ohio State as a 4th round pick, because he's a massive dude, and he's come in and held his own against some pretty good pass rushers.
Yeah, all eyes is going to be on the Giants pass rush, trying to get after Deshaun Watson. Giants fans know for a fact, after watching Jaden Daniels kind of get off and then Sam Darnold have this rebirth, Giants pass rush has to get at Deshaun Watson, move him off the spot, have him kind of rattled back there. What are some of the things about the Browns that I guess you and fans are worrying about going into this game? What are the details that can get them beat?
Well, you mentioned Deshaun Watson. We saw progress from him from the Dallas game to the Jacksonville game. He was a lot more decisive in his throws, a lot more decisive in his decisions. Whether it was a lot more decisive in just when he knew when there was leakage in the protection, getting out, extending plays. He just seemed like a little bit more confident quarterback than he was against Dallas, and Jacksonville has a really good pass rush, much like the Giants. I mean, the Browns are running through a line of great pass rush teams, through the start of this season. So I think that's the biggest concern is, did Deshaun Watson really turn a corner last week? Did this offense turn a corner? Because if they did, I like their chances here. I like the matchup. I think they're very talented. I think the struggles that Deshaun has had with him and Amari, connecting, I think they'll take care of those because I think you're dealing with a consummate pro and Amari Cooper, and he's acknowledged that, look, I'm frustrated, but I'm also motivated, and I think a motivated Amari Cooper is a player you don't want to deal with if you're a defense. But I think that's on offense something that the Browns fans are interested and concerned about seeing the progress that's been made there. And on defense, look, if you give Daniel Jones time, he can complete passes and he's got weapons to throw the ball to. Malik Neighbors is a phenom. And then you look, Wan'Dale Robinson's a tremendous second option. And, there's guys on that Giants offense that if this Browns defense, doesn't play up to its standard, they can hurt you. So, I think, on both sides of the ball, those are things that Browns fans are sort of, as they go into this matchup, worried about that. Hey, yeah, they're 0-2, but there's talent on this Giants team that and it's the NFL, the whole ending given Sunday thing. So, it's too early in the season to say, well, just chalk this one up.
Yeah, I mean, we continue to look for the evolution in this Giants offense week to week. Obviously, that first week, they put a nothing burger up there. Second week, they got the ball moving, scored 3 offensive touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, 18 targets. But I'm anxious to see what Brian Daboll was going to do in terms of spreading out the wealth. Let everybody cook. Let everybody get a chance to kind of touch the ball. Use Malik Neighbors more as a decoy to get some one-on-one matchups on the outside and hopefully throw the ball down the field. So that's going to be something to keep our eyes on. Final thoughts about Sunday, man. How do you expect or how do you foresee this game going?
I think the Browns are the better team. I think they're the more talented team. And outside of the Dallas game, the Dallas game notwithstanding, I think they play better. They are a different team at home. They feed off that crowd and that energy. And if they can get off to a fast start, I think kind of like they did against Jacksonville, I think that's something. I think they'll feed off that crowd. I think the defense starts to pin its ears back, and it's something. And they can win. They can win somewhat comfortably. 10 points or so. But again, they've been beset by penalties, and if they don't clean the penalties up, they don't take care of the ball. I mean, the Giants have an opportunity here also, but I just think the Browns are the more talented team. They're playing at home. They have the confidence of having won last week in Jacksonville, and I think that's something that they're ready to build upon because they have a stretch here before they get into AFC North play in October, where they can potentially, put together, stack some wins up, stack some confidence up, and really, start to become the team that I think some people thought they could be coming into the season, which is an AFC playoff contender.
Yeah, the Browns on one hand are trying to turn the corner. The Giants, on the other hand, are trying to kickstart their game and get them going. So it's a big matchup for both teams for separate reasons. Chris, thanks for hopping on, man. Tell the people they can find you. Shout out your platform.
Well, you can find me on Twitter or whatever they're calling it.
Whatever they call it.
At C Easterling ABJ. They can also read my work at thebeaconjournal.com.
All right, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.